Hey guys, welcome back to The Sports Entertainer. There are a lot of wild wrestling news stories going around today, including John Cena breaks his silence on retirement, a WWE star will be out for 1 year, Gunther's title reign is over, major update on Andrade returning to WWE, and much more. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on so you never miss out on an episode. Now join us as The Sports Entertainer looks at the breaking wrestling news and rumors you need to know. Gunther's title reign is over. Now, to say that Gunther's been a dominant Intercontinental champion so far in WWE would be a massive understatement. Gunther's been on one of the all-time great runs with that Intercontinental title, and it's arguably the top title on Monday Night Raw, even more so than Seth Rollins and the World Heavyweight Championship, because it seems like a lot of fans feel Gunther has been on a better title run than Seth Rollins has been with the World Heavyweight title. Regardless, Gunther's basically been unstoppable, although that may be changing soon as it looks as though WWE planned for Gunther to possibly meet his match or equal in the near future. It was reported a couple of days ago that Brock Lesnar's on his way back to WWE, and this is what Gunther had said regarding a possible Brock Lesnar match in an interview at the end of last year. Quote, "I don't know if WrestleMania 40 is the time for that, we'll see, but I feel like in the long run, the one name I always bring up is Brock because I feel like I'm the end boss to a lot of people, but I feel like Brock is somebody who has perfected being an end boss, so I've got to prove myself with him in the ring too." Clearly Gunther wants the match, and everyone seems to be speculating that we're heading towards a major clash between Gunther and Lesnar, probably for WrestleMania 40, and here were some fan reactions to this rumored feud on WrestleFeature's viral post about it, with one fan believing we are witnessing the end of Gunther's reign as Intercontinental Champion. Quote, "WrestleMania match loading, I have him returning at the Rumble, being eliminated by Gunther versus Brock angle in the Royal Rumble to set up Brock versus Gunther for the Intercontinental title at Mania, and Gunther's reign is over, the ring general has nowhere to run. Let us know if you guys are excited about a possible Gunther and Brock Lesnar feud heading into WrestleMania 40, and do you believe that Gunther's Intercontinental title reign is now in jeopardy?" John Cena breaks silence on retirement. Now, whether we like it or not, the 16-time world champion John Cena is nearing the final chapter of his wrestling career in WWE, and to be honest, this shouldn't come as any shock or surprise because some fans even speculated that John Cena had retired from WWE following his loss to Bloodline enforcer Solo Sikoa at Crown Jewel last year with all of his cryptic social media posts, but in a recent interview with People magazine, John Cena basically broke his silence regarding his WWE retirement and had a lot of things to say about it. Quote, "I turned 47 this past year, and I don't have much time left in the WWE. It's not for a lack of passion for wrestling or having a greater interest in acting. I think it's just the demand of age. You know, I'm trying to figure out when to close that chapter. I wouldn't be who I am professionally or personally without the WWE, and I promise myself that I would never simply just be there for my own sake. Every time I perform, I want to give my all to the audience, and I've got to admit, when I hit the 45 mark, I had to begin to try to form an exit strategy, and I'm trying to work on that currently. I just want to do what's best for the company. If it's a big final match, or if it's just a final match, or however I can be integrated into the product to let everyone know that this chapter is over, I'm willing to listen to what WWE has to say. I do have almost 2.5 decades of wisdom built up where I think I can offer a mentor perspective for sure, so if I am not integrated with the WWE family moving forward and in perpetuity, then I think it's a waste for everyone involved. When you have a certain amount of fluency and you're fortunate enough to have a long career in something like wrestling and you gain that, I guess you'd say 10,000 hours of mastery, it is tough to step away because you've invested so much of yourself in it. Most athletes' careers last 3 to 5 years. We're talking 20 years here for me. So you gotta ask yourself, like, what else do I know? What else do I want to pursue? What else am I curious about? I have been fortunate to be able to open up a whole new Pandora's box of curiosity and things that I'm interested in. I basically just want to still leave WWE with my head up high and for the audience to be able to appreciate the effort that I've given. Let us know if you guys will be upset when John Cena officially hangs up the wrestling boots for good, and once Cena retires, do you think he should stay with WWE in some capacity, perhaps as a mentor for future WWE talent? Grayson Waller fired by WWE? Now, there has been a bit of concern from fans regarding whether or not WWE have or will fire Grayson Waller after his antics on a talk show recently, and for those of you who haven't heard the story, Grayson Waller essentially went off on an Australian news channel when he, along with LA Knight, were there to hype up the upcoming Elimination Chamber event in Perth, and things basically got heated when one of the interviewers, Natalie Barr, asked LA Knight to perform his BFT finisher on the floor manager, with LA Knight essentially playing this off coolly and asking if Grayson wanted to take this one, and the floor manager proceeded to get into the camera view and pretend to shadowbox Grayson Waller, and to say that Waller wasn't taking kindly to this disrespect was an understatement. Grayson Waller got up and started confronting the floor manager for the disrespect by saying, quote, "I don't think you understand. If I come over there right now, we're going to have the police here because I'm not going to give you some fake punch. I'm going to punch you straight in the jaw." This clip obviously went viral on social media, and while a lot of fans are giving Grayson Waller props for sticking up for the entire wrestling industry, some fans expressed their concern on social media as to whether or not Grayson could be punished by WWE for going off like this and not taking the calm, cool approach of LA Knight, with some fans worried if Grayson could be fired by WWE, with two fans on Twitter or X asking the question, wait, did Grayson Waller actually get fired? And did Grayson Waller get fired for that interview segment? We can answer that question quite simply. No, Grayson Waller hasn't been fired by WWE because of this interview clip, and if we had to guess, WWE are probably giving Grayson a pat on his back for sticking up for the business, and a push is probably in order for Waller. Next up, WWE star will be out of action for 1 year. Now we have a quick update on Cora Jade's status in WWE, because most of you are probably aware now that Cora Jade suffered from a torn ACL during a recent live event match against Lyra Valkyria, which was confirmed by WWE, but the question that a lot of fans had was, well, how long is Cora Jade going to be sidelined for? Well, NXT commentator Vic Joseph provided this update on Cora a couple nights ago during NXT, and it's not good news. Quote, "There you see the field for this main event battle royal, but there's one superstar that is missing. That would be Cora Jade. That's because this past weekend at a sold-out NXT live event in Dade City, Cora Jade was injured at the live event, suffering a torn ACL. Doctors are saying she'll be out of action for close to a year." Now, this is truly unfortunate news for Cora Jade, as she literally just came back. Such a sad injury, to say the least, man. Major update on Andrade returning to WWE. Now, it was reported recently that Andrade could be returning to WWE after the 2023 World's End pay-per-view, where Andrade ended up losing to Miro, with CJ Perry turning against him, with Fightful Select basically reporting that there is some kind of an agreement between Andrade and WWE, and that Charlotte Flair has been pushing for his return to the company. And we have some new details regarding Andrade's exit from AEW by Fightful. Quote, "AEW talent said that Andrade was often very open about his contract status, and that his deal would be up in or at the end of 2023. Numerous talent also said that he'd mentioned that he'd planned to stay with AEW, and was considering another, but by the end of his run, had told wrestlers he was headed back to WWE. Several in AEW actually expected him to show up on WWE programming the week after he left AEW. Let us know your thoughts on Andrade's impending comeback to WWE, and do you think it's almost a guarantee he shows up as a surprise entrant in the 2024 Men's Royal Rumble match?" Next up, bad news for Seth Rollins. Now, most of you are probably aware that Seth Rollins suffered a legit knee injury this week on Raw during his World Heavyweight title match against Jinder, with this story first being broken by Wade Keller of PW Torch, and Wade Keller has just provided the following update on the Seth Rollins situation through his audio update on PW Torch, and it definitely doesn't sound great. Quote, "Connecting some dots, I am thinking it's not good news, but I don't know how bad the news is. The reason for that is I've asked a bunch of people, and some of whom would likely be privy to what's going on, who won't comment. I understand there's internal policies on that, but I would think if he was fine and he walked it off, then we'd be hearing that. Now, it's possible they're going to do a story on television because the news of Seth's injury has gone crazy. I don't know how many dozens of websites quoted my breaking news story on Monday night, but obviously people who are on social media and Reddit Reddit know about the fact that he was legitimately hurt and limping backstage, and everyone quoted my reports on that. They could be doing a storyline where they're gonna play into that on TV and go from a situation where Seth's knee is not that bad and play it up as if it is as some sort of storyline. So I'm throwing that out there as a caveat to the hunch that I'm getting from colleagues of his and other people in WWE. They either think it's bad news and WWE is gonna probably have Seth announce something on TV, or they're just waiting for more test results to get something more definitive. But they want to control the narrative on him at this point because people who know aren't commenting. I just think people who do know would go, "Oh, he's fine, it's no big deal, blown out of proportion if that was the case." This is my long-winded way of saying I don't know, but I'm passing along transparently from one of the wrestlers who was around him Monday night after Raw and just said, "I don't think it's good, my gut says injury, maybe he'll work through it, he's tough." Another colleague of his said that he thought Seth, because of his history of injuries, would have had a good idea if he should finish a match with the injury and if he should be walking on it backstage. Because he finished the match and because he was able to walk on it, that it might be one of those situations where he just needs to rest it for a few weeks. But even that wrestler wasn't ruling out that it could be worse. Now let's hope that Seth Rollins isn't seriously hurt here and will be able to return to action soon, otherwise there will be a ton of chaos backstage regarding changes that would need to happen to the plans for WrestleMania 40. Well guys, that's it for today's major wrestling news. Make sure you leave a like and comment, and also make sure you subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on so you'll never miss out on an episode. Finally, if you haven't already, give us a follow on Twitter at TSE Wrestling, and we will see you guys in the next video.